Hello, everybody on Twitch TV. Welcome to 4th IB presenting Friday Night Fights. With myself, Morgan, joining me today, we have Barton. Barton, how are you doing?
I'm doing very well, doing very well. How about yourself, Morgan?
I'm doing very well. It's been a very long time since I've been here. It feels like it has been forever, but I'm very happy to be back here with you tonight. And hopefully the games will be extra special, to bring it all back together, making everything. It's going to be one hyped up night. Everyone's back, band's back together. We're going to have some good action, I'm pretty sure.
Numbers are looking very good tonight, Morgan, so I think your hopes will come true. Got a little bit of saucy content I bet's going to come down tonight. We got a good, strong 4IB squad out there, and we got good numbers from all the other communities in Friday Night Fight, so it's setting up to be very, very good.
Well, we can't really ask for more. As long as everybody gets involved, we have some good game modes to, get all the action going, some juicy content. I mean, what more can anybody ask for on a Friday night? Not much, not much. So the first round then, do we have information about the first round coming up, or has it not been announced just yet?
I do have a little bit of information, just a little bit. Right, I do have a bit. So it is a destroy mission. Well, I believe there are caches which they need to destroy with, explosive charges or rockets. Anything that makes a big bang, we can do it pretty much. Hopefully, we don't see someone trying to shoot it with their pistol. That really won't really work. So it's the destroy mission. So the attackers, which will be blue for this time, have a 15% numbers advantage. They're attacking into the town of Campbelltown, and they're going to be trying to destroy the caches defended by Op4. All in all, I think the vehicles are somewhat similar in stat. So they got a good range of vehicles. Both sides do have air units as well, so they can use those. Quite interesting. But all in all, we've set up pretty well this evening.
Oh, that's really good to hear. Hopefully they'll then. There doesn't seem to be any excuses this time for not providing with the hard hitting content here. We've got what seems to be a very exciting game mode. The destroy game modes are always good fun to watch. Things always go down. There's always twists. There's always lots of action happening. It's always a good fun one. And when you've got the nice mix of vehicles and they're balanced out, I mean, not to say that the FNF team aren't always providing with the high quality content because they've always got their game modes. They know exactly what they're doing. They're professionals, these people.
Absolutely.
Sometimes you wanna get just straight in there with the action. It could be like a fine wine, to reference Jeremy Clarkson loosely from a very long time ago. It's a wine that you drink it and it stops the conversation, and it stopped the conversation, and everyone's enjoying it and thinking about the wine. You don't always want that kind of wine. Sometimes you do, but not always. Sometimes you just want the cheap bottle of wine that everyone just drinks it and is still having a good time at the party. It hasn't interrupted the conversation because everyone's just going with the flow and just rolling with it. That's roughly, to paraphrase, I'm pretty sure that's what the point he made. However many years ago he made that point, but it's something that hopefully comes true here today. And for those of us, or for those of people out there, rather, who aren't too familiar with FNF or what it is that we're bringing, you want to try and explain it in a couple of minutes? What is Friday Night Fights?
Well, Friday Night Fight is on the Friday. Believe it or not, it's usually on Friday. There is a Tuesday, I think, Tank Tuesday thing hosted by the same community, but this is Friday Night Fight. You fight on a Friday, where there's a collection of people from different communities coming in for a set PvP environment with different game modes for each round. The Friday Night Fight is comprised of a 3-round system, and so you fight each individual rounds and usually have 3 matches on a set night with a certain group. Tonight, I believe there's currently 2 servers running as well. So we've got 2 servers worth of people and about 100 plus people fighting on server, which is, very unique in terms of ArmA. It's very hard to have that organized, and it's very good that we can bring this saucy bit of content to everyone here at home. Yeah. It's all good. So very unique Friday Night Fight, and I was on it last week. I took a nice little commander position, Company 2 IC. It was very nice. We won, of course, because superior tactics, of course. But all in all, yeah, it's a place to have a really good bit of fun, and it's very unique, and it's different than what people are used to, because you get these life servers like ArmA 3 Life, you can that gives a lot of PvP, but you also got that role play. But this is like Milsim-esque fighting. Most of the people, most of the communities involved in this thing are from Milsim groups, and so the tactics used and the fighting style used is more in line with what a Milsim environment would be. Back to you, Morgan.
Well, thank you for summing that up really well. I think you covered everything about it. I personally can't think of anything else that I think is worth adding. I think you summed it up very nicely. But I do want to ask you before we get into it, how was your session last week as the Company 2IC? What did you get any devious plays going or anything like that, or was it all just by the book this time?
It was it was what round I took the company 2IC position. I was doing it with Eason. I believe Eason's somewhere here. Yeah, Eason's a much in this. Usually command position. It was that domination game. It's that 3 neutral cap points, and you had to go capture these sectors. It was that game mode, and basically, as we know, Morgan, as we know, the first firefight decides who wins that match. Pretty much, whoever wins and dominates on the B point wins that round. That's why there's a saying, "Rush B." It wouldn't be saying otherwise if it didn't work. So yeah, IAC just got charged everyone down to Rush B, and we won. So Rush B, best play in the book. That's how we won.
If it comes out today, if we have one of those domination style game modes, well, maybe we'll see if they've learned a couple of things from your leadership expertise then in
Rush B.
the last session.
Yeah, that's what you got to
Just
do.
rushing B, going
Rush
straight
B.
for the mid, just trying to win that first fight. So about this week's first round, then, how are the maps looking? Where are the points, and how are the teams faring up here?
That's a good question. All right, let's have a look. So as we said before, this is the destroy game mode where Op 4 is on defensive in their area and trying to stop them destroying certain ammo caches. At the current time, there's 2 ammo caches that they need to defend from Blue 4. There's one in a larger area here, which will take Blue 4 long to find during their attack. But it's got pretty decent avenues of defense because it's an urban area. Urban areas are quite a lot easier to defend in, and it offers a good bit of close range combat, which is always very entertaining. Then you've got the other more northern cache they've got, which is in a highly defendable building. In fact, you see all these small little windows, flying positions all round. So they've got very, very good things to work with here. Very good positions to fight from. I think it's going to be very hard for Blue 4, even with their numbers advantage, to get a foothold and win in this situation.
All right, and with then, in terms of defense, let's start with the defenders. Normally, I think we start with the offense, but let's start with the defense here. What how should they set up if you were in your company 2IC or even IC role? How would you try and designate your units here? Obviously, like you said, you want to try and keep the fighting urban, as urban fighting typically favors the defenders, especially when you've got such open fields just beyond the building line. But how specifically do you think they should try and set up? And should they maybe forego some of the caches around the map to try and consolidate their forces? Or do you think just, spreading out and taking advantage of the fact that it is very urban in this area, trying to push that to their advantage?
I think the best thing they could do is, in this case, actually defend both caches, because both caches are in close proximity to each other, right? It's not as if, like, one cache is here and the other one's here, and then the other one's all the way over here on the open hill, right? These 2 cache positions are highly defensible, and the key thing for defense is defense in depth. You've got to have positions that support each other's positions. Every form of defense needs that stuff. So you've got to have layers of defense. And because the defenders can't get bogged down in a prolonged firefight because they don't have the numbers advantage for it. So they've got to stay inside the urban area, but stay mobile inside that area, or at least have positions where they can easily move between or move back to. So in this situation for Opval, they're allowed to build anywhere within this red area for the time of setup. I think what they need to be doing is assessing the area just around these cache sites. So I think what they're doing now is finding the exact position of the caches. And then what they're going to do is they're going to make an initial ring around this of a hard defense, hard points, as custom built positions, which are heavily defended by a set team. So they can make a couple hard points, usually ARD 360 of each cache. But I think in terms of defenders, due to it being urban fighting, you can't risk people running back and forth because this isn't overly defended. It's lots of fences and wooden fences, which isn't too good to run between. So I think they've got to make isolated pocket defenses. So pocket defense, but in those pocket defense, you have to have defense in depth. And that's what they're going to do. Because you can see they're adopting this position on top of this factory here. Right? Now, as you can see, that can support this area and everything around this pocket, but can also support this area as well. So that's a very good position to take, and it can definitely dominate the ground. So what I'd say in terms of what we're talking about is pocket defense here, I'd say for the southern group, they need to definitely take this factory, but also make the fences possibly out here and then fall back after taking contact. So I'd have layered the fences from all round position. So build up like this one here, or these houses here, dominate this cross section. Looks, see, they're already figuring out what to do. But all in all, it's all about making that defense in depth, self-supporting positions, and allowing them to negate the attacker's numbers advantage. Back to you.
Thank you very much for your excellent explanation on setting up a defense there. I think the point you mentioned about how it is urban, but it's not too urban. It's not densely urban. I mean, the map is Campbelltown, which is Scotland, so there's nothing densely populated about Scotland, that's for sure, or built up for that matter. But they do have the fences around, and moving quickly between buildings will be difficult. But I think, as you said, that trying to set up those pockets and stagger their defenses like that, I think that it definitely makes sense to do that, and if they can pull off a defense, that was probably going to be the key. It does look like they are stacking up quite a lot on this factory, and I guess we'll have to see if that sort of pans out for them and trying to do a single hard point. Um, they are trying to set up a little bit around it, but it does look like the majority of their defense, especially for this hard point, this cache anyway, is going to be set up on that factory area, which, I mean, maybe it works out, maybe it doesn't. I guess we'll have to wait and see. But if we switch over to the blue fort and see what weapons they have for the assault, maybe this may show us are the defenses that Op4 have set up, are they good enough for what's coming at them? If they're all setting up in that factory, for example, let's say, for argument's sake, if Blue 4 have some sort of A10 collapse, then I don't think sitting in one factory is a very good idea. It doesn't look like Blue 4 have an A10, surprise, but they do have a couple of APCs and some helicopters as well to land troops in. How do you think they'll try and set up for this assault?
I think for Blue 4, there's a reason they've been given two massive helicopters with cameras on the front. There's a reason why the game master decided, right, I'm going to build this map. What do I want to give Blue 4 as a best way to come across this scenario? And look, they've got, I don't even know how it's supported by this tiny little beam and just been stuck on at the end. But basically, you have this camera stuck onto this tiny end, and you got them on both things, which can look around and assess. And I think that is more than likely going to have thermals on it as well. And so you can figure out where the defenders have put their hard points and put the positions where they're going to defend. And once you know that, then you can start getting the information you need to form an attack plan. But at the moment, they don't have really any idea what's going on and what they're going to be facing in terms of other than they know they're facing an inferior force in numbers. But as you see here onto the Op4 side, you got small pockets of defense again, but they're also in depth with each other. So because Blue 4 only has the numbers advantage to commit to one central attack, really. Right? If you're fighting in a pocket defense mindset and you're fighting that type of enemy, you've got to commit to one central attack to use your numbers advantage to the best capability. All right. So what happens here is they're making pocket defense on this massive factory, as we saw earlier, They've also decided to take up this office block, which I was about to point out earlier, is again a very nice position, which also supports those fellow positions. So it's up to Blue 4 to use the bloody cameras and figure out where they are, right? If they don't do that and they decide, I'm just going to go down the main road through the front door, no one's going to expect that. That's going to be a problem, isn't it? And so they're going to get caught in a crossfire between two very defensible positions. And then as soon as they lose momentum, it's pretty much gone. So they just got to commit to a very hard attack very quickly, try to overwhelm with numbers. And that's usually their attack plan. Back to you.
Yeah, I do agree that the name of the game, especially for the Blue 4, is recon, recon, recon. And with the helicopters that they have been given, there is definitely no excuse for not getting the information across here. We will have to see how it plays out, of course. All sorts of things could happen, and this could cause some issues for the helicopters. Perhaps some armorisms take place, or maybe they get shot down. I haven't seen anything that looks so obviously in the way of anti-air. There aren't obviously. I haven't seen any like shoulder launchers or anything, any AA guns of any kind, and there doesn't seem to be, from my memory of looking around the map, there weren't that many, if any, APCs that Op4 could potentially use either. I don't know if you've seen any on that front.
I think they had some BRDMs, but that may have been a older map file. So I think no, they are just limited to helicopters and just transport vehicles. But they can do a lot with it. As you can see, they are starting. The area I pointed out earlier. They Op4 sent a small group there to assess it. But I think they realise it's not a very good area to defend. But that's mission starting now, and let's see what Blue 4 is doing initially.
And as we switch over, I just want to give a big thank you to everyone in the chat. We've had a couple of people subscribe already, so shouting out to Larkinson, The Royal Viper, and Spooky Ghost 5. Thank you very much for your subscriptions. We greatly appreciate it. So how are Blue 4 moving out here?
Right. Blue 4 appears to be going in a convoy of some form. Again, convoy, this is PvP environment. Convoys aren't exactly the best thing to do, are they? It's quite obvious to know where the convoy is going. You just have to look at the first one. So, yeah, when I was leading my personal group, when I was 2 ICU Koi, I said, no convoys. First person that gets a gold star or something. Like, at the end of the day, there's no point in having a convoy here because it just makes a more obvious target. It's good for a PvE environment, player versus environment, but for a player versus player, you can do a lot of damage when engaging a convoy like this. So if you had it all spread out here in terms of horizontal and just going across here, each person can run to their own bit of cover, right? But as soon as this one gets lit up, they're inside that kill box that's been set up by a firing position, and everyone's going to the same kill box. You see the problem?
Yeah, definitely.
Oh. Looks like there's a natural obstacle in their way at the moment.
Yeah.
And then you got Dryden just flying and crashing in. That's going to injure quite a few of them. And you got another one just coming through.
Hey.
What?
I do like.
Why?
Yeah. Well, that's a start. That's for sure.
But you see exactly what I was saying. Exactly what I was saying. You have this like convoy coming across, and they all go to the same problem area. And it was very likely that they could have crashed into each other. So not the best thing. I think now they've broken off their convoy. You'll better suit them, I think.
I think given the fact it was in a convoy for that, the lead up to that point, I don't really think there's much excuse for everybody having the same issue there. Surely if you've seen the front vehicle, oh dear, they nearly flipped over. Maybe I don't want to go so fast over this point, but I think it looked like a competition to see who could go over that, into that dip the fastest.
As you can see, there's a Zeuser camera around here because there's an eagle in the sky. He's enabled that add-on option, so that's what the Zeus is watching. Is watching Blue 4 at the moment. So let's go watch what Op4 is doing with their defense now. Spread out. Looks like some elements have gone to the north, trying to dominate these really large hills. They do have BRDMs here, So pretty equal in terms of their capabilities, both in terms of armored vehicles for both teams. So it'll be very interesting how they do. But these armored vehicles are going in the same direction as this convoy, which could be very juicy. As we can see over here, we've got an X-ray of blue 4 down to the south of the Op 4 helicopter flying high above. So not a lot going on there. I want to see what the blue 4 helicopter's been doing.
Yeah, just about to ask that. 'Cause I haven't seen. Are they even in the sky?
So it looks
Oh,
like
there
blue
we
4
go.
helicopters coming from the south. Maybe trying to get eyes on from over the bay, which would be the safest location for them, because they don't have any long range weapons.
Does look like that.
Yeah, you also got the Op 4 helicopter. I think they might run into each other here. Both blue 4 and Op 4 helicopters, so we'll keep an eye on that. But to the north, the vehicles of Op 4 are still pushing west, while vehicles of blue 4 are pushing northeast. So it's likely they could get a nice engagement here. And if this is devastating enough, if these Op 4 vehicles are effective enough, that could be really bad for blue 4.
Yeah, it's going to be difficult pushing up there for Blue 4, considering there's not really much cover out there. And if those BRDMs start lighting up their convoy, it looks like they've sort of gone back to a pseudo convoy almost.
Oh, here we go.
If they start lighting it up, then it's going to be very difficult because they don't have anywhere really to escape to. They don't have anything to hide behind. If their vehicles get shot out, then just sat out in the field. So we'll have to see.
Visibility
Are they
to
able to?
BRDMs are very bad. So
Right.
it could be liable that I think the blue 4 vehicles are going to the dead ground from the BRDM at the moment. But I think, yeah, that's why he's dismounted. He's dismounted to go see what he can see. And I think he's going to spot those vehicles. There you go, he's seen it. He's called it out to his gunner, to the driver.
Bring me up, driver.
It's a pretty smart play there by the driver there from the BRDM, or the gunner.
Stop.
So they're trying to organise, but I believe blue 4's gone out of the danger just in this quick area here. But it's highly likely that things will go wrong. You've also got the helicopter coming in to help spot. But you've got the other BRDM coming to the same area to try to spot out this blue 4 convoy. So all in all, very, very interesting.
Now, hopefully that Op 4 helicopter doesn't get too close. It should need to get close to be able to do its job of...
Oh, we got a BRDM rushing the convoy now.
Stop.
But it's looking in the wrong direction.
Does he know? Has he been told with communications? Does he know where he's going?
I think the blue 4 convoy may have just escaped there. But this armoured vehicle blue 4 has been noticed because it decided to shoot at a helicopter. It's not worried about the threat on the ground at the moment.
Right.
So it's quite possible this BRDM will spot him out. Just weighing on standby. It looks like the blue 4 convoy is going to make it to a heavily wooded area. So the immediate danger for blue 4's team has now been passed.
Team commander disconnected.
You've got a blue 4 helicopter firing harassment fire into the town. But nothing major there. You've got another BRDM rushing down this area. You think you might have to... But again, visibility, terrible in BRDMs. So he's just facing front, which is the same as the vehicle. So the blue 4 vehicle might spot him out. Probably will, given the fact the driver's now looking at him. There you go. That BRDM has been utterly mangled by this blue 4 vehicle.
Yeah, and it looks like...
But now the BRDM is getting revenge. And has taken out the gunner and destroyed its gun. Wow. So the gun is completely disabled now. So it's now up to the BRDM to finish the job. So that's a trade between Op 4, one of those armoured vehicles, with one of blue 4's armoured vehicles. Now again, every life of Op 4 is a lot more valuable than every life of blue 4. So, all in all, from this trade alone, probably not good for Op 4.
Yeah, and that's both teams losing, what is that, 50% of their APC type vehicles in
Absolutely.
the first couple of minutes. I mean, they were both the first bloods, unless something mysterious happened elsewhere on the map.
The potential for them to ambush that convoy has been lost, really.
It has.
Big shame.
kind of unfortunate for Op 4. I was excited. I don't know about everyone else, but I was excited to see a good ambush come up. They had nice land sort of across the
Oh,
hill. Could have been really good for them.
I was
Backing.
really looking forward to that bit of content,
Yeah.
but sadly not. Not getting that. We've got this helicopter unit coming across. Doesn't want me to select it though, so I can't see what they're doing. But it looks like they've gone to pick up their commander for these vehicles, and now they're just moving off to try to find them. Maybe the
Right.
helicopter's going to try to spot out this convoy. But likely it'll be very difficult to see what's going on in his position.
Yeah, potentially. Should we look then to see how Op 4 within the town have responded to the calling out of the convoy? It looked like originally they set up quite a lot of their defences sort of on the western side of the town, but maybe will they try and rotate it to be sort of more the north now? Or are they holding strong?
I think what they're just maintaining. Don't think they're going to garrison every position they've previously had. As you see from early in setup, there was loads of people in this factory building. Now
Yeah.
there's hardly any. But as you see, yeah, their defences are perfectly set up to repel an attack from the north. Now, very narrow firing up for this HMG, which it could be nice in case a vehicle comes down, but it's very, very minimal what you can do. So what I'm thinking Bluefall is going to be doing is they're going to be pushing in, getting to this urban area here, and getting these trees and trying to fire in and just harass these hardpoints. Now, this defense by Opford looks great. Absolutely, you got if they're attacking from the north, you got one line, second line, third line, fourth line, fifth line. Perfect example of defense in depth in that direction.
Yeah, I have to agree. It will be interesting to see how Bluefall try and get around that. It's going to be difficult, especially as Op 4 now know almost where all of them are. It must have been called out. There's quite a few vehicles if they've not seen anything anywhere else. I don't know if they spotted the Blue 4 X-ray element to the south. They've definitely spotted this coming. Looking
This
to
is the idea of
approach.
just holding here, yeah.
Don't know
Not
if
a lot of
it's
movement.
is it trying to spot something in particular? It looks like it's looking to the north for me. Is that right? Or is it looking?
A bit of helicopter combat, but that's pretty much it.
I guess you could call it combat, but shooting from a helicopter is quite difficult to do. So we'll see if anything gets done from that. In a way, I'm kind of disappointed that there weren't any sort of troop landings with the helicopters. They're definitely more than well equipped to do so.
Yeah, they were given very good stuff there. They were given like large helicopters to transport troops. So they're still going off in a convoy, and you know my opinions about convoys. But all in all, yeah, this is the main bit of combat at the moment, just in the fly shooting at each other. Not really a lot going on there. Oh, I just said that way too soon. A helicopter just got shot out the sky by Bluefall.
Wow.
Alpha has lost one of their helicopters. Yikes.
Was it shot out of the sky? Or
yeah, it was shot out of the sky because it was had the pilot in front. The Bluefall helicopter's got a rear firing machine gun. It's probably taken out the pilot and killed it. BRDM also looking to engage, but firing a bit short. Now getting more on target now. Again, oh, that's the engine gone. BRDM must have taken out the engine of the Bluefall helicopter. So he's going to have to auto-rotate this down.
Hopefully the pilot can do it. He's been showing that he can at least fly the helicopter reasonably well and surviving for such a long time being shot at. Well, let's see if he can make it back to base and pick up the spare.
He's got a huge problem, the fact that he's got a lot of forward momentum and not a lot of altitude. It looks like he's handling it very well. He's noticed that his engine's gone straight away and hasn't accidentally, but it looks like he's still got that large amount of forward momentum. So he looks to be doing okay. Whoa. Landed it.
Interesting handbrake turn at the end there, but
yeah, I was unsure how that happened. But yeah, that was fair enough. Good work from those two. Absolutely.
Very impressive. Whereabouts are they in relation to everything else? How close are they to the action? Oh,
got some more content here. We've got a vehicle-on-vehicle combat, possibly. No, what we have, I think, is
the
an
destroyed
Op4 in a
one, right?
Blue 4 vehicle,
Oh,
but is registered on the map as Blue 4. Very interesting.
interesting.
The X-ray element of Blue 4 to the south is again just staying on standby. I think they're going to be waiting till the infantry commit to an attack and then coming into supporting that attack. There's two ways you can use armored vehicles: as their own independent element, as a breakthrough item, or you can use them as a supporting item for an infantry. There's two different doctrines of the way you can use them. So looks like Blue Force dismounted away from their convoy, is now advancing on foot, also in column formation. Fair enough. Of course, it's the 4IB guys in column. Loving it.
What
Good
else?
fun there.
What else would they be in?
So they're coming down there. They won't know anything, so they'll be very slow going for this urban area because they're not sure whether an Otfor's pushed out. So again, they've lost their helicopter in the sky temporarily, so they don't even have good eyes on any of these positions anymore. So they're walking a bit blind, which isn't what you want to be doing. When we said at the very start, they've got cameras for a reason, right?
Yeah, do agree. Hopefully, the Blue 4 helicopter will have been able to get out some comms that they weren't too spread out before going down. Because at the rate the guys here are moving, the helicopter might come back to support with reconnaissance before they even get into any action here.
Absolutely. Got a bit of a lull here again, haven't we, Morgan? There's no B to rush this time, so it's going to be very, very slow paced indeed.
Someone on this building with me. We are here.
So Morgan, tell me, what are you looking to see? What do you think? Who do you think's got the advantage at the moment in this round?
At the moment, it's a very difficult one to call. I'm going to probably sort of favour it towards Op 4 because I always think defence have the advantage. And so far, there hasn't been enough to really go down either way to sort of sway it in my mind. But I think it's definitely possible that Blue 4 can, get something going on. But losing their BRDM relatively early on, I think it's probably going to hurt Blue 4 more than Op 4 in the sense that that's quite a lot of heavy firepower for Blue 4, whereas Op 4 they have their HMGs and all that they can sort of lay up around and use as defenses, whereas the majority of Blue 4, other than their other BRDM and potentially some GPMG gunners within sections or something, they just sort of have standard rifles, which it will be good enough, but it's not quite the suppression that would be needed in a situation when you're trying to propel an assault, trying to break through the defenses either. I don't think.
So one of the problems here, they've pretty much got here in terms of a stealthy location, right? They've managed to get to this area without Op4 really knowing where they are, right?
Yeah.
So, and there's nothing for them to believe that Op4 already know where they are, right? And this is a common mistake. They're using the doctrine of using vehicles to support infantry at the moment, right? But when you've got the element of stealth or surprise, it's often that's more valuable than having a vehicle there straight away as soon as combat starts, right? It's better to allow the whole point of it is allowing the infantry to make a committed attack, identifying the hard points, then bringing the vehicle in to start hitting those hard points and start pinning them down. What they're doing now is the vehicles are still intermixed amongst the infantry when they've still got the element of surprise in there, which basically gives off, "Hello, I'm coming from this direction," quite single. They may as well be flying smokes around at the moment. But see the problem. So this is a common mistake. So hopefully these vehicles stay behind the main infantry elements for the initial attack. It's all good once the attack has started, right? But they are willingly giving up that advantage for no reason. Looks like Op4's had a little bit of a problem inside one of these buildings with a vehicle.
Interesting.
Maybe they got a bit bored and thought, let's kill our own team. It's fine. But no, they're there to recover the HMG, which is the main thing. No one Blue Falls around to see it, so it's not exactly they're giving away a position. All in all, yep, Blue Fall again, advancing slowly on foot, but again, the mistake here, let me have the obvious vehicle at the front giving away my attack angle.
Yeah, it definitely isn't necessary. They should be, like you say, holding back, and then when action starts, the vehicle can cover that ground in no time at all. You know, it's a vehicle that's powered. It can move fairly quickly. So I think it doesn't gain anything, even if there weren't the element of surprise. I don't think it really gains all that much by being this close to the troops at the front at this point in time. Say there were op fort around in these houses. I don't really see how using the vehicle like this is beneficial in any way at the moment. It should definitely be sat back, ready to advance as soon as the combat happens, but not be there before the combat happens.
They're doing movies, Morgan. That's why. What's the movies? All the guys with movies, you know, it's all good. But this, the only benefit of having the vehicle on the front line. So when the firefight starts, you can start getting superior fire down straight away. Problem is, that is usually only used in the core environment because this by itself, just giving away the position. So in terms of exchanging here, pros and cons, you're sacrificing your element of surprise in order to gain, you know, superior firepower on the instant of contact. But these are players, not environment, right? Suppression doesn't really work the same way, right? So what the players are probably going to do, they're probably just going to launch the AT rocket straight away because at the moment, you got the vehicles going to be pinned down inside the kill box once contact starts, right? The only way this is ever an advantage to have them here is when the attackers are the ones opening up that combat. But as they don't know where the enemy positions are, that's not going to happen. And because they got a big loud vehicle at the front line, the defenders are going to know where they are. So you see the problem. So there's like a very specific time you do this, but it's not this time.
Not this time.
Not
No,
this
not at
time.
all.
So hopefully they do hold back as best as they can, but I highly doubt it. So that vehicle will just be caught in that initial kill box, and then it could just be a load of problems.
Yeah, and again, it's one of Blue Fall's few vehicles that has sort of a heavier machine gun on it. So as that will be the first target, everyone will see that, and anyone with a launcher on their back will go, yeah, that's mine, I can take that one. And then that's gone. That's a significant amount of the firepower from the whole assault just gone straight away. Doesn't make too much sense. But looking across this, Op 4 helicopter seems to be heading in that direction. Do you think it's spotted out this push?
It's a Blue 4 helicopter, but up 4. It's the Blue 4's helicopter.
Huh.
Is it? Yeah, okay. So someone's nicked the helicopter that was shot down somehow.
And fixed
Or
it.
did they steal it from the bay? Oh no! Oh, that's devious.
No.
They stole it from the bay. So the Op 4 helicopter crew has landed their helicopter properly damaged. I bet if they set up a booby trap on this thing, that would have been hilarious. But they set up this thing as that just stole the Blue Force helicopter. And now using the Blue Force helicopter against him. And Blue Force has the advantage of, you know, their cameras on it.
Yeah.
So now Op 4 has access to both a stronger
Better,
helicopter, arguably, as well as cameras in order to, you know, successfully identify the attack venue Blue Force is going to be taking. So we've got our boys on the front line here. Coming up, we're about to get content. I'm sorry, viewers, it's a little bit slow at the moment, but don't you worry. There's some devious plays going on, stealing helicopters. I love that. Love that little devious play. But at the moment, we're in a situation where the infantry is advancing on foot to a kill box set up by Op 4. This will be very interesting to see.
Hopefully, Blue 4 recognise the fact that they are probably walking into some sort of kill box, and they're able to sort of prepare as best they can with it. I mean, potentially, that's maybe the reason why they have that vehicle there. If they move in and they go, look, we are obviously going to be caught out and ambushed at some point, so let's draw all the attention to this vehicle, which will take the shots. And this then means we can have more of our men surviving as we go into the assault. Maybe that's the play. I don't think that's the play that they're thinking of because it doesn't sound very good. But maybe that's, you know, what they were going for. Draw the attention to the vehicle, draw it away from the men, and as soon as that kill box opens up, there's more people to respond to it as opposed to a machine gun that could only really point in one direction.
Alright, so our pilots have now nicked
Oh no,
their
we were. I was just hoping that that vehicle was going to stay back, but no, it's right there on the front line.
It's
So
definitely been spotted.
yeah, so wonder whether or not these guys are going to hear it, but the helicopter flying just over. That vehicle will give away their attack direction. The one key thing they could use, the attackers, is this mistake made by Op4. They parked a vehicle in this entrance, and you know vehicles next to buildings, when they blow up, everything goes up.
Yep.
So it's kind of possible if they blow up that vehicle, they could bring that this entire hard point of defense. Should be very interesting to see. So again, advancing up here. Just when will Op4 recognise that vehicle sound?
Pretty sure they must be able to hear it. Olaf here looking in that direction. Sure, he's recognised that something's coming from that way. Just can't see with the other buildings in the way. But I'm sure he must understand that, and that helicopter must have called out the fact that there are guys approaching from that direction. And there's people are firing off some shots. I don't know if they're shooting at anything in particular. They're shooting at the X-ray element.
Yeah, they're shooting at the X-ray element. It's just a bit of harassment fire going out to the west at this time. But
Right.
it's all suspense before the storm. Come on, look at this. We got Bluefoot coming up with their nice vehicles, bringing all the out noise. So whether or not they get spotted out, oh, it's all for this now.
So it looks like it's the platoon command element, company command element in the vehicle at the front. So as soon as that goes down, that's a really key point to your chain of command that it's gone. It's going to draw all the fire. Leading from
There
the
we
front's
go.
one thing. But
Yeah, they're starting to open up against the building, across the open terrain. Okay, right. See, this is what's happened. They're engaging with a load of harassment fire here, which is great in a PvE environment. PvP-wise, though, they're putting a load of harassment fire down, allowing all the Op4 to make rushing plays to get into position, like these people are doing right here.
yeah,
So now they're rushing in order to get that defense set up. They set up the machine gun that way, and they haven't even made a strong break into the built-up positions Op4 has. So Morgan, tell me, how do you think this early engagement by Bluefoot is going to work? And what were they thinking when they were like, yes, let's open fire in this direction? Do you think it was trying to get some couple easy kills, or was it just something out of instinct?
I'm going to assume they were shot at first. I don't see why they would have opened fire first from a position such as that. They don't know what's in the buildings next to them. So if they put themselves into a dangerous position, such as leaning from a window or near, sort of out in that courtyard, I mean, they don't know what's in that taller apartment building just next to that, where that church building. There could have been some hot floor in there, and they've just opened up and started lighting up people miles away. And they could have just all been gunned down from there. Obviously, it didn't happen, but it's drawing over a lot of attention, and it's not like they're trying to distract the Op4 guys by summoning everyone over, saying, hey, look, let's make loads of noise, so everyone rushes over to us because they've been bored for 20 minutes with nothing to do. No, they've just said, hey, we're all over here now. Come face us this way. And I have to assume they were shot at first. I can't really see how why they would have taken that opportunity. To be perfectly honest, doesn't make any sense. What do you think? Yeah,
Right.
shots going down already.
Yeah, that's one kill for this man right here. Very good work on that side. Doing very well. Right. So what else is going on?
Very difficult for Bluefoot to push in.
Absolutely.
Lock themselves to have the water on one side, so they can't really flank around, like forming like a wheeling maneuver over to their east or anything like that. They can't do a maneuver over to their west so much because the hill's there, and also they should know that the APC's out there as well. The Op4 have the one they captured as well as their own one by default. So if they push up onto the hill now, it's going to be very risky for them. I do wonder, are Op4 moving their vehicle over to that hillside to try and sort of flank out Blue 4, or are they sort of wheeling it round to come from the west side and sort of support their own troops?
It's very unsure what Blue 4's been able to do at this moment. There was a bit of aggressive play by the Op4 man here, trying to push away. He should have stayed in this little pocket area. Swallow's just got in a very good position where he could really hurt them. Again, grenades going out. They're going to start panicking.
Very good. That one.
Shrapnel going around. That's definitely going to injure them. And there we go. Unsure of how much damage he's done to those grenades. But yeah, there's going to injure a few people, that nothing major again. So they have destroyed this vehicle, but luckily it hasn't brought down the building itself. It's just, yeah. Op4's defense to the north is getting a little bit overwhelmed now, and they just need to understand that just use the defense in depth like we're seeing here. He's just trying to take this position, and the defense in depth is now shooting this man who decided, let me just charge up on the roof. So now he's in a position where he's been caught out of position.
Yep.
He's not really got a lot to do. Tried to throw a smoke grenade, but fell off the building. Poor guy.
I didn't go to plan at all there. Yeah. I don't know why I found that so funny, but I did. Anyway, I think a lot of this is due to impatience from what.
Oh! Devious play! They set an explosive charge and it just took down this man. That's what I wanted to say. Yes! He's gone.
Someone's firing off some rounds towards him. It might
Just
be
to make
picking
sure
him
the
up.
job's done. That is cracking.
Yeah, that's
very
going to
well.
do a lot. It's very lucky that the rest of his fire team hadn't pushed into that, because look, it looks like they were quite close behind him. But yeah, very nice to see that from up 4.
I'm going to say, as far as I'm concerned, Blue 4 were the first to open up from this position. I think that may have allowed Op4 a lot of time to set up defences in that direction, and we'll see how many casualties they take just trying to push this first cash point. Because again, you've got to cover all these open bits of ground still. Very, very difficult for Blue 4 here.
One thing that Op 4 I don't really agree with how they've moved is, as they've noticed that Blue 4 are all coming from one direction, they seem to have forgone a lot of their defense in depth and all just sort of pushed up to be on the same line of each other.
Yeah, that's
just forming
definitely
battle
happened.
lines, which loses quite a lot of their defensive advantage.
Absolutely. I think they have abandoned quite a bit of what they could and could not do, but you still got that little bit of defense in depth hitting Stark here. So again, Op4, all they have to do is allow Blue 4 to come into their kill boxes.
Yeah.
Blue 4 is... See, why was this man rushing? So we've got a man trying to cross a road in the middle of a firefight, which would be very dangerous play. But it's all these grenades. These grenadiers are going to change the game here. If these grenadiers can get just rounds landing around it, they can seriously injure Blue 4's attack and stagnate them.
Hopefully they can get it done, because I did believe in Op 4. I believe that they could hold off the defense, but
Another man dead from a kill box.
Doesn't look like their defense has gone quite to plan. So props to Blue 4 for being able to unwind it and draw them out to that formation. But I don't think it should have gone down quite like this. I think it's been quite a bit of luck for Blue 4 to be able to get to this point.
Olav here is really using that like tiny slit, tiny exposure. They can cover quite a lot of the arc. It's very lucky with that position. So Blue 4 is getting in on point, but they must believe that are they believing that this is the cache site? They must think that this is the cache site because they're committing so much to it.
Yeah.
But there's no cache in here.
It's not far away though. So I think once it looks like the 4IB guys pushed in and cleared out the building, they will then have quite a tactical position for themselves. So that may also be thinking whether or not there's a cache in there. This looks to be a very solid hard point that could defend from almost every direction, and they know where they need to push to. Gives them quite a good advantage to have that position as opposed to letting the enemy take it.
Alright boys, we're sorting the fire station next. Everyone get medics and get ready.
Gazag in a very dangerous position here. Very dangerous to Blue 4 that matter.
Get your boys set up.
So Blue 4 must have been a little bit taken off guard. The fact that there's no thing here. There's no cache. They're trying to figure out where the cache is. Very unsure what they're going to be doing here. They are definitely making an investment to this building, probably dealing with casualties inside. But they are getting bogged down. There's a big explosion going off here. Looks like Private Stanners, or Fast Stanners, whatever it's called, is pushing the command element now and has killed one of the command element, which is very bad, very bad. Oh, Gazag has been spotted. Another explosion goes off near the thing. Does not end in a decisive amount of casualties with that explosive charge, so that's a bit of failure. We've got Gazag peeking this corner. If he's audacious, he can seriously do some damage. The bipod's doing dirty there. Oh, poor guy. But as you see, Blue Force in a very, very big bind here. They can't get on the roof. All they can do is try to pin it down. And then as soon as they try to push away from this position, they get caught by the same people they're trying to push in the first place. So you can see our rule man right here. I think he might be new to you. I'm not too sure. He's basically trying to push out, which is fair enough. But again, Stark as well is realizing it's such a dangerous position and has to run out and try to get something. So, like you see, Blue 4 been caught out here in the open because of this pocket defense. Gazag coming out and peeking.
We've got guys on top of the building.
Killing another person, Gazag. And another one.
You'll have to see it.
This defense and death is really hurting them now. But you've got more and more Blue 4 just coming and committing to the same area. Which, you know, you've got to commit to your attack, but come on, guys.
Resupply the front lines. Come on. More
Supply
cannon fodder.
The front lines
Let's
are more
go.
cannon fodder. That's exactly what it is. Look, Gazag trying to do something here. He's probably going to spot that man running out in the open. He's all right. He's all right. Gazag's relocating. Throwing a grenade, which will definitely cause a lot of damage. Oh, Gazag's walking up on the grenade now. Oh, that would have hurt him. And down goes Gazag.
After so long, got a fair amount of work done. Fair plays to the guy. Definitely
Done well.
pulled his weight there.
Again, being caught out in the open after pushing out. Getting really caught out here. So 3 more Blue 4 go down to injured state. 2 die. Stark is... Cheeky little... Look at him! Look at him! You cheeky son of... So Stark is now pretending to be dead in order to not get shot by the Op 4 defenders. That is what I call a devious play. That is brilliant. That is content. Oh, that is brilliant. Well, good. That's very smart play by Stark. Extremely smart. What's he going to do with it, though?
Yeah, does he put it off, or is he just going to lie there for now?
Olaf spotted you, Stark. Don't move. Don't do it. Off he goes. Go on, Stark. No.
Yeah.
Oh. Another Blue 4 getting caught out by, you know, see? Self-supporting positions. Look at this. Beautiful. It's beautiful bit of content from. It's very good defense by Op 4. Very good.
Stark still
No, he's
by
dead.
the looks
No,
of it.
he's dead.
No,
He's gone.
no,
He's
okay.
gone. Don't worry, he's dead. Stark survived a long time, but he had to med after a while. He did have to med,
Well.
and now he's got a situation where quite a large chunk of our guys on the ground have been lost. I dread to see what our producer's doing with all the feeds that I was like, all gone. It's just us now. Oh, goodness me. But then you've also got more game impact, while there's still pocket defense. Look at it. So deadly. But Blue Force now finally making the final commitment here. Where's the next level in depth from Op 4? As you were seeing earlier, they've abandoned their positions in depth here. They've try to get to this front line. Blue 4 trying to get in. Oh, brings out the launcher in anticipation to kill it, but gets caught out by Op 4. Oh, I believe that is that is definitely a blue for taking of this building. But then, again, they're being harassed. Ridley trying to go in and save the day, but add to the pile of bodies. Oh, goodness me. Looks like they've got that first cache. First cache has been destroyed. And then another... What if Opal gets back up? And causes another casualty for Blue 4. You've got further Blue 4 forces wrapping around and taking these positions previously abandoned by Opal. It's all to play for, I still think, Morgan.
I think so.
Yeah, definitely.
It's very, very close on either side. There's been a lot of, what's the word? Distractions, I guess. You know, even if they're not pulling out so many kills, so there's been quite a lot of people who have pulled out lots of kills, but the fact that there's so much chaos around, everybody's not sure which way to look, which way they can push. They try pushing some way, try pushing another way. Yeah, it's just... It's definitely going to be a very close one. I think it will be counted again. Do we see how much time is remaining?
It's for some reason glitched out for me. Banks getting caught up by Olaf again. Settle down! And it's got another one! Dirty! Oh, that is brilliant. But you can see how much game impact from just this line here. Look at it.
Yeah, I know.
Injured, another T1 there, like another person unconscious.
And here I think is where keeping that helicopter would have been very useful. I could be able to do some strafes enough to maybe suppress the people on the roof while everyone else pushed out.
Another death. Another death.
Yeah. They're just sinking more and more bodies into this one assault.
As you can see, Op4 using their vehicle to catch them out, and also making a further in-depth position here. Really hurting them. But also has brought the other Blue 4 vehicle in as decoy. Oh, well, no, it's also occupied, but just not shown. So they've got two vehicles currently smacking this area. They're probably taking out Blue 4's vehicle. But it's just causing utter chaos. Look at it, utter chaos right here. And then another in-depth position. Now they look at this firing line these men have here.
Oh. Very well set up.
Tap firing it. It's a machine gun. So, there goes one.
Yeah, just saw that one.
It's in such a rough position. Poor guy. But that's not got cover either, buddy. No.
He's done his best.
He did his best.
Did his best. Unfortunately, couldn't quite pull it out there at the end. You have to applaud the effort.
What is this X-ray element doing? What the? We've got the X-ray leader just in and around all of these Op4 lines. What is going on here? And down he goes. Poor guy. So, looking on the map as it is now, we have got just a completely broken Blue 4 attack. My goodness. That was... I think the attack was... I don't even know what to say. I'm a little bit blown away, Morgan. It's not what I usually am like, but looking at this, you've got such a rough situation. And I think, as far as I'm concerned, Op4 has won this.
Yeah.
Because all organisation,
the case.
yeah, all organisation has gone. Morgan.
And as you're the defenders with fewer numbers, you have to rely on deviousness, right? So
You got to rely on Davis. Absolutely. Yep. Look at this. Their defense and death is so good. They fully adopted the doctrine. They abandoned it here, but that was the pocket. So they got to the center of the pocket. So these aren't... I think would have been made it even better for Op4 is if they kept this position, kept it garrisoned. Because they abandoned this to go further garrison this building here. If they just kept that, when they would make that commitment, they would be caught between this firing in and this position firing in. Look how much game impact these guys have had. I don't know what's wrong with my interface because I can't see how many kills these guys. But I bet these guys have just got a large range. You got kills here, kills here, kills further along here, kills all along here. It's insane. Very good game impact from that pocket defense on that hill, and then on the roof, not the hill. And then you've got Blue Fort also pinned down here by another in-depth position. Really rough situation. So what do you think Blue Fort could have done differently, Morgan, to try to change it up?
What could they have done differently? I don't really want to say
Vehicle!
where to start, but yeah, where to start? I think there's quite a few things that they just they seem to flip coins quite a few of the times and came up tails on every single one, unfortunately. They first of all moving their convoy going all the way around to try and push from the eastern side, which potentially I guess they could have thought they're going to set up all their defenses on the west in a sort of baseline. So if we push from the east, then they won't expect this, and we can get away with that. Unfortunately, it didn't seem to make any difference as they were able to push more down to the south to the river. So yeah, had no impact there.
Poor guys, man. These guys. They got fired from one direction, another direction, and oh, now they're being pushed. Oh my goodness. Just getting
It's just been
overwhelmed now.
crazy. Yep. I think it's going to be very difficult for Blue Four to really get anything done at this point. Time is against them. I think they've probably only got about 4 minutes left or so. And if that's the case, then they've got a lot of work to do in 4 minutes. They have to push past this line of defense and then find the cache and then destroy the cache. I don't see it happening, if I'm honest.
Coda clearing up there, making sure to double tap. So I believe the last few elements of Blue Fort are now on the ground. Center goes down just in that firefight alone. That got probably headshotted through the. So very unfortunate for him. But these are the last 2 men alive. Morgan, what do you think is going through their heads?
Probably something along the lines of, I wonder how we can sneak in and destroy the cache, because there's no way they're going to
Get
overwhelm
over the wall. You
forces.
don't have to be on this side of the wall. Look at this. You've got a nice little wall that you could have used the entire way to just get up on top of them, and they're walking on this side of the wall. Why? Why?
I can't
It's all
answer
right.
that.
There's reason for it. Don't worry, Monk. There's reason for it. They're just walking along this side of the wall. Okay, that's fine. So I guess they're just hoping to just walk up on the cache and blow it up. Very hard to do so.
Yeah, but I think, to be perfectly honest, everything they attempt to do will be pretty hard. Yeah, I don't really see much success coming from really any play that they make at this point. Severely outnumbered, whilst on assault, to find an objective that they don't know where it is. Yeah, it's looking difficult for the Blue Four
Looks
guys.
like another person from Opfall is just connecting there. But no, we basically they've been caught out by, again, this pocket defense here. These guys having such large game impact, my goodness. They probably allowed this guy to crawl up so they could get his ammo. That's probably why they allowed him to come up. But again, guys, get on the other side of the wall, please. I beg of you. Come on. So yeah, you've just got this situation where they're just on this side of the wall, being caught out by the same thing that caught out their entire team. These 3
Potentially, they
men.
think there's some sort of scout on the port, and they wouldn't be seen if they stick on this side. But I don't know. Yeah, again, I'm not really sure what they're thinking of. And they have been spotted. There are shots coming down. So
This guy's going to be heavily wounded. He's been hit multiple times by the Dishkin, I think. So very hard for them. Denying the asset there for Blue Four. I'm not too sure why, but I guess they're splitting up, and then just it's way too soon. Sorry, Mel. for him. Other side of the wall, possibly. Beachside property.
Maybe that's what he's looking for. He's
No.
gone. I'm
No,
just gonna
dangerous.
become a resident now.
Not dangerous. Dangerous. Not dangerous. You know. Oh, you got shots coming through. Oh, revenge! Revenge is so sweet. Just managed to take him out on the turret, so that guy is now dead. He's now running for his life. He's taking revenge from that group that did a lot of damage beforehand. You got these Opful complacent now looking at each other to talk to each other. So they're just waiting on the timer. So I'm not too sure how long the timer's got left, but I'm gonna guess now that he's been spotted. It's kind of irrelevant. But just having a look at Blue Opful's defense here. So they got the Gallow Hill. They got vehicles firing down. They've got the pocket ring defense around the central area where this cache is, as you can see, and all these things. And then you've also got another couple pockets here which can support these positions here. So I think Opful's defense was absolutely by the book, perfect.
Yeah, agree.
I think abandoning the position of this white building to go reinforce these positions was questionable, but at the end of the day, it turned out with good results. Right? They effectively won this round here. So even if this guy gets into the cache position, what does he have to actually blow up the cache?
Maybe he's picked up some satchel charges along the way.
Blue 4 eliminated. That is an Opful victory for
go.
round 1.
That's it. So,
Goodness me.
after that round that went, I mean, the time went all the way down to it, but from the initial assault onwards, I think it was pretty in favor of Op4. There were times where it looked like it could have been close, but Blue 4's decision making, especially in the second half of the round, did sort of fall away and it just became really chaotic. I don't know if potentially they lost some higher up chain of command relatively early on, which could have been a bit of a disaster. But I don't know, their plan to me just from the start seemed fairly flawed. Like I said earlier, they all moved around to come from the east, thinking that they would have the jump on the backs of the guys. But they took a very long time to do that and didn't keep their scouting helicopter to keep them informed of what was going on around them. And then when they do get to the eastern side, then they forgo any chance of element of surprise or any advantage on that front and just roll up into vehicles again. And then pushing across, they keep it very almost trench warfare-esque. They have, we're on this side, you're on this side, and we're just going to keep running up to reinforce our battle line as we just keep trying to make these couple of meters across that we can try and charge. So many people crossing without waiting for the smokes to plume, so just give away their position. Some people thinking that they can cross a relatively large road in no time at all. It's definitely looks to be a bit of rust for a couple of the players on that one. What do you think that Blue 4 probably should have done from the very start there?
I think the way they use their vehicles is still in keeping with a PvE environment, right? I think just the general, they didn't have enough recce on the air. The helicopters should be more prioritized instead of shooting at each other helicopters. Should have been worried about what's going down on the ground because that's what actually matters. They should identify those key buildings, obvious green HESCO barriers on top. So you say these are the hard points that are spotted, and then they can start putting them on the map and then seeing the framework of what Opful's done. So I personally think the southern push was not very good because it was like all in one channel. It was everyone coming through the same channel. There was no secondary engagements. It was they only started moving around the position once they had got in contact. And further to that, they started the contact, trying to shoot something 200 meters away across an open field in a window.
Yeah.
Where they only have to move 1 meter left or 1 meter right. And the thing is, it's a window. So if you knock him unconscious, he could just get dragged away by his friend, and you won't be able to finish him. So I think the engagement was very premature and allowed the necessary time for Opful to make decisions in their defense, and and that time allowed the defense to be that much more effective And so when that defense was that much more effective, it caused Blue 4 to lose much of their momentum and much of their numbers. And that group on top of that building, my goodness, they literally just came into that trap, thinking that was the cash point. When it wasn't the cash point, it all just fell apart, as you saw. So, all in all, very, very tough job for Blue 4 to do, but there were key mistakes that they did do. Back
Yeah,
to you.
I think they, like you said, it was difficult for them, but who do they really have to blame for getting into that position? Obviously themselves, right? It's they set themselves up for a bit of a failure from the get-go. We did highlight at the very start, we mentioned how powerful the helicopters with their cameras would be, likely with thermal attached onto as well. So it'd be hugely impactful for any sort of scouting across the area. But yeah, they sort of just went away from it, and yeah, just very messy. I think so. But we'll cover some more about this before we move into the second round. Op4 do clean up on round one. And for now, we are going to go to a quick break, and then we'll join you back for some round two commentary. So before we go, I want to hear what you guys think was the critical mistake for Blue 4 before they unfortunately lost that round. So let me know your thoughts in the chat, and we'll be back in